Alright, hello there everyone, Soulsword17 here. Let me first, like usual, I do not own the pictures, I made the thumbnail, unpaid video. Alright, okay, so, I basically watched the last part, near the end, because I remember most of it. I had him kill the Minotaur, then I had a special challenge, I had him face a Lich from the Plunderer anime, and I had him gain the sword, from Lich, and, he basically looks like him now, but as a 14-year-old. I did not know Bell was 14, I thought he was 16. So, 14. But technically Bell looks like he's 16 anyways, because of the height, but does not matter. So, yeah, and I did forget about them, about him and Lily going to the tavern to meet Syra? No, not Syra. Not Syra. It's SRY. So, Shry? Yeah, to meet Shry. And basically, sorry, I just need to check something. I'm just trying to look. Yeah, and Rui. Wait, Ryu. Not Ryu? Let me just double check this, okay? Okay, I was right. It's Ryu Long. So, I didn't have them go to the tavern, like I was planning to, but I forgot it. My apologies. So, I'm gonna have them go there in the morning. Because of something. So, yeah. So anyways, though, let's just get into this part. Also, I'm kind of making some things happen for Bell that Sun Jin would not be able to get. So, yeah. I'm kind of doing basically some stuff happen. And also, new features that's being given to Bell that Sun Jin Woo did not have. It's because of the system that he gave to Bell. This is something that was gonna be given to him unlocked, basically. So, yeah. Anyways, as Bell's waking up, he gets a notification, and he's like, "Huh? So early in the morning already? Huh? New dungeon? What the? Huh?" So he was like, would you like to know about the new dungeon? He's like, yes. As, it says, basically what he reads, new dungeon, multi-dungeon. Basically, you can use multiple of your keys at once, and it has to be in a wide area to be able to work. So, all these, monsters that will be in this dungeon will be, getting stronger and stronger. So, as it gives example, you have to use 12 C-rank keys to make this dungeon. 12, basically, D-rank keys, 12 C-ranks, and so on and so forth. And Bell's like, holy cow. This is awesome. And then he reads, also, any one of your party members can come with you, and they can increase their stats too. Even though it's not from the system that they have, they will still be allowed to use for their god system to be used. As Bell was like, yes! As Hestia's like, Bell, why are you so excited in the morning? He's like, I just got a new way to level up quicker. Plus even help Welf and Lily. Nice. She goes, huh? So basically, he basically says, I'll explain before anything else. After we, brush our teeth and stuff. She was like, alright, so basically after that, and they wake up, she was like, so, what is it? As Bella explains about the multi-dungeon and what it is. She's like, that's good, but it's gonna be dangerous for them if you bring them with. He was like, Yeah, I know. That's why I'm gonna try my best to, well, basically go on the lowest ones and make sure I have enough soldiers to protect them and me. Well, protect them and me as well, basically. She was like, that's a good idea. You just have 6. How many can you have? He was, well, since I have 113 magic, I basically can even hold about 140 of my shadow shoulders, but -7 of that. So, good 130 something. She was like, amazing. He was like, yeah. So, I'm in, doing my, morning routine. She was like, alright. So, basically, Belle goes up to up on top as Lily, it's not there yet, but Belle's starting to do his morning routine while Hesta is watching him. As then, well, he does this. I know he goes past 200. I mean, he goes past 100. He goes up to 200, and then with push-ups, sit-ups, crunches, basically. And this one Lily came in when the sit-ups happened, and well, let's just say both of them were just couldn't just like watching, just drooling a little bit. As well, and Wolf comes in, Belle just gets up, and he's like, "Huh? Why are you exercising?" He was like, "Oh, just part of my morning routine. I still gotta go for a 10K run. I'll be back." Which, well, yeah, Belle does a 10K run. Turns out he did a 20K run. And he goes, "Whew." Feel like I just realized I did everything double? I didn't go over it? Huh. I wonder. And basically says, item unlocked. What? Item box. Basically would you like to receive the item? He's like, yes. So basically what he receives is coats. He's like, huh? Best for winter and cold storms? No protection, but basically keeps the body warm and the cold out. Does not matter what cold it is, you always will remain warm. Matches? Huh. Just, light one up to make a fire. It's like, okay. So he just has like these and basically a book. He's like, how to basically prepare a meal, 100 ways of outdoors animals. So he's like, wow. What the? Why do I need this for? This does say junk, but no, not gonna waste it. As then basically he looks at how much money he has from from all the other stuff he's been selling in the store. He's like, I have a lot of money. Basically, I have over I have 22 million. Huh. Wow, that's what happens when you save. I should really probably stock up some health potions and mana potions. Maybe I should even get a new dagger. The sword I have is already good enough. I'll save this. Wait, maybe I have. Wait, could I even ask Wolf to try to see if he can inspect the dagger from one or any weapon I get from the store? Hell, heck. Maybe even try to see if I can sell one of these and see how much value he can get. Probably be getting less or too much money, to be honest. Wait a minute. As then, this is when Igris chimes in. Basically, my lord, Sun Jin-woo, my former king, basically took one of the daggers, and it was worth a lot of money. He's like, seriously? Worth more than? He was like, yes, more than the current world's weapons. And especially in this one, these weapons from the store will be highly valuable and very dangerous in the wrong hands. As then he was like, any weapon is, but if what you're saying is true, I can't sell none of this stuff to any merchant, any blacksmith. Just let me. That's okay then. But this Night Slayer's dagger, that's kind of cool. Which Igor says, well, Sun Jin Woo had that, and he took care of the knights. It basically can rip through knights like butter. He's like, wait, really? He was like, yes, he was in quite a pickle. Pickle? And he was like, just means he was in a tight situation where he could not win. Basically the Night Slayer helped him out with that. He's like, oh, I see. Alright. I don't need that, but I'll keep that in mind. So basically, this is what Bella does. He basically starts to stock up with some health potions, a good 20 of them, and NP potions too. He's like, that should be good enough. So he gets back to back to his home, as then he was like, all right, Lily, Wilf, let's go to the pub, the tavern. All right. Which they're like, why? He was like, one, we have nothing to eat here, and well, technically we're gonna have to go buy food soon. Hestia, she then nods, and second of all, I want to see something. He was like, I'm actually mostly taught to you, so come on. And he's like, okay, Welf says, and Lily goes like, right. So basically they go to the tavern, and when he gets in, it turns out Bella was not early. It was just, he basically slept in. It's like lunch hour. He's like, oh, wow, the place is busy. So he basically goes and sits down, and Shrai and Ryu come over with basically drinks, ale, and food. And they basically, but while they were coming over, basically, Bella was saying, so, this kind of celebration for my my nickname, my name I got. He was like, which, Lily was like, yeah, what is your, title or name? He was like, and then Valve says, it's Dungeon Destroyer. Which, she's like, huh? Why? He was like, well, that's the thing I need to talk to you guys about. And it's gonna be, as in all of a sudden, Ryu and, Ryu Lion. Basically, it's RYW 2 U's. But, it's basically Elf Girl. And then Shrai, basically silver hair and Bella's friend. We all know who it really is, basically. Saying, like, I would have gone with something else like Little Rookie, but that's a really good name. Why did you call it Dungeon Destroyer? He was like, well, recently I've been able to destroy every floor in the dungeon, so it kind of made sense to me. And basically Ryu just says, well, it's a weird name, but congratulations. He's like, thanks. So, they sit down, and then goes like, who's this? He goes like, oh, this is Wolf Crozo. Crozo. And then, she has an eyebrow raise. He goes like, and I know, and I don't care about that. She's like, alright then, as long as you know. So, basically, Wolf is like, whoa, man, how do you know these two? He's like, oh, they're my friends. I mean, they're really good people here. Even Mamma Mia is too. And eventually he's like, so, why are you guys sitting over here? Basically, and Ryu just said exactly the same thing. Canon and such. And they say, so, are you thinking about going to the lower floors? And, Ryu asks. Which, just says, yeah. And then Belle says, not right now. There's something I want to take Lily and Wolf to. it's gonna be a different place than here. Just say that much. Which basically, Shy and Ryu basically have their, look of shock or confusion, which Wolf and Lily do, and they're like, "What do you mean?" It's like, well, you know how I disappeared, basically for 3 months in the dungeon, which he's like, well, let's just say, I basically just know something I can do, so let's just say that much, okay? Which she was like, which basically both of them say, okay. And Wolf's confused, but Lily understands. Because he did explain to her what happened to him and about how he can go into the dungeons. And she goes, wait, is it? He goes, Lily. But it's something better. Something that can help us, all of us out. Which, Shy is like, kind of confused, but she's not going to be picky. So basically, she goes, at least you have a party and such now, but I don't think you guys can handle the floor still, and when you go. But be prepared as much as possible. Which, well, Bell nods. He was like, I will be. This is also the reason why I want to prepare myself. So, I don't want to let the dungeon take me down a notch, And then she does smile a little. So, after that, the guy who basically tells him about join our party, all three of you, but party members have to, basically share, so why you bring these two, beauties here? And before he could say anything to his friends, Belle literally just looks at him. And, this kind of shocked, Siru and, Lily. Not Lily, technically not Lily, but Welf and Ryu. Stry, basically. SRY, basically. I'm just trying my hardest to try to say her name right, but I can't. It's Siru or Stry. It's always going to be trying to figure it out and try to how you pronounce it. But anyways, they're kind of shocked by this because he's literally just looking at this guy coldly. He goes, first of all, I would never become a party member of your group. Second, as he gets up, he was like, I would not drag my friends with me just so you guys can have fun. So, you want to try something? Go ahead. But we have to take this outside. And believe me, I don't plan on letting you walk away. If you do, trust me. Which, he's just legit just looking at him. Like, dead serious in the eyes, as he can tell Bella's not messing around. As he goes, what are you? He goes, well, are you afraid of me? If I were you, I would just scram. But basically when they're about to leave, Mia tells them to pay pay for their tab as they throw the money in, and then they leave. Belle basically takes a deep breath in and then out, and he goes, "Sorry about that, Mom, Mia." Or should I say Mia? He goes, "Sorry about that, Mia. He just pissed me off." Which she goes, "Don't worry about that, Belle. Just continue eating." He goes, "Thanks." So basically, he sits back down and basically has his drink, and Shy. Okay, I'm gonna really have to look her up. How to pronounce her name. Okay, I kind of look to see how someone pronounce her name, and I found out it's not SRY, SYR, so Sarah. I don't know. I'm just gonna go with that. But it's way more easier than Sarah. Yeah, I just been fumbling over that name for the longest time. So this one is basically an easier way to remember her name. So Sarah. So yeah. Anyways, so I think Ryu was like, so are you gonna tell us why? He's like, oh, it's just the fact that I don't like how that guy basically. Well, I know you can handle yourself, Ryu, but I don't care. I still want to protect my friends. So, I just spoke my mind. That's all. Don't worry. And then Sarah's like, thank you, Belle. He's like, no problem. Anyways, basically, let's eat, guys. So, and they start eating and drinking, talking, chatting. This goes on for at least a couple of hours and such. As then Belle and Welf and Lily leave. So, basically, Belle's leading them, somewhere, but then they turn a corner into an alleyway, in which, well, he basically stops and he goes like, alright, Welf, I'm about to tell you something, okay? He's like, huh? What is it? He was like, well, this may freak you out, but here, let me explain. So basically, he explains about how he can use these keys to get to a dungeon, which he is shocked. He goes like, how's that? He was like, let me finish. He goes, and these dungeon monsters don't have crystals. So when we go in, we're just going to kill them. Their bodies won't puff into smoke. There'll be an actual dead body there, okay? He was like, yeah. So, is this how we're going to train? He was like, yep. That means they'll be 10 times harder to kill. So we have to be prepared. Alright? Lily? Just, right. And he goes like, but wait, how are we going to? He's like, first off, we have to leave the town, well, the city, just outside the wall. Basically, I'll be able to use at least 12 of my keys, basically, of this one. This is an E-rank key. He goes, E-rank? That's the... He goes, no, this is the lowest dungeon key. He's like, but I thought he was like, it doesn't follow the system that, with I-H-E. Alright? It doesn't follow that way. E is the lowest. He's like, oh, okay. So, what we're gonna do is like, first off, gather your things and weapons. And we'll basically then meet outside. Well, how can I say this? We'll meet outside the dungeon, and then we'll go outside the city. Alright? Which, basically, they both nod. So, Bella goes back to the Hestia's, familia, basically his home. He's gearing up. He has basically his blades. Well, yeah, both of the blades and such. And then basically, Hestia's like, so, you're going? He's like, yep. I'm taking them with me. I'm telling them to prepare themselves. I already explained most of it to Welf, but not everything. She goes, right. Just tell him everything before it's too late. He's like, gotcha. I will. Thank you, Hestia. I'll be back. But if anything happens, don't worry about me, okay? I will come back. I promise. She goes, you better or I'll never forgive you. He's like, Ray said I promise. So he basically leaves. Basically, they all meet up. And they all then go out, to basically out of the city. As somebody saw him and his party walking out, as her curiosities piqued. So, she follows, basically, his group as they're outside, next to, basically at a wall. Like, when you're outside the city, there's a wall, so he basically goes over to that where no one can see. And he's like, okay. Basically, Welf's asking. He was like, okay, so how are we going to do this? He's like, right. So he basically takes out 12 of the keys. And then he just starts putting them up in the air and, turn each one by one. Because, how can I say this? What he's seeing is, there's a screen that asks him for the 12 keys. Basically, he put them into the keyholes and he just starts turning them. And then he goes, multi-dungeon, activate. As all of a sudden, a portal opens. As basically, Wolf was like, what the? Is this teleportation magic or spatial magic? As he goes, nope, this is the dungeon entrance. When we leave into the dungeon, we won't be able to come out. So if we do, it'll disappear. So we better get as much as, stronger as much as possible. Got it? Which basically Lily and Welf nod. And basically Belle's too into basically watching them to basically notice someone's watching. And he goes, so when we enter, the gates will close. You only have a short window of time. Okay? Which they both nod. And he goes like, should we expect anything? He was like, I don't think so. This is the first time I ever entered a multi-dungeon, but the last dungeon I entered, basically I got some enemies I met. But don't worry. So, come on. As basically Belle is walking through, then Lily, then Welf, and then this mysterious person runs before the gates closes, and when they walk through, all of a sudden, when they basically entering the dungeon, something like happens. It goes red, as it's like, what the? Basically the gates going red, as in, Sun Jin senses this. He goes, oh no, a red gate. Tank, go to them as fast as you can. Which, bring your men. As Tank nods, as all of his men and, his armed, forces, basically his bears, basically immediately leave into where they get to where the actual gate is before it starts closing and jumps right through. As what happens is, when Welf, Lily, and Belle open their eyes, they're in a frozen forest. So they're like, what the? How are we even here? As then all of a sudden Belle gets a notification. Belle gets a notification, basically. I just had to make sure I was saying something right. The notification is this. Red dungeon has been unlocked. Cannot leave. Enemies are 10 times stronger. Time here works different. It's a lot faster. So a day here is actually just an hour there. And enemies are stronger 10 times or 5 times depending on which enemy. And double points. 2 times the points. As Belle sees that, he's like, so wait, if I level up, that means I'll get 6 points, and plus I'll get 2 points into my stats? Or 3? I'll have to try to figure that out. But right now, how do I even... As then basically hears a voice school like, why is it so cold? As he looks back, he sees Sarah. He's like, he basically says Sarah. He's like, Sarah, why are you here? And she was, I saw you guys leave and I was wondering what happened and oh my god, it's cold. As he was, and then Lily was like, yeah, I didn't know anything where it could be this cold, and even Wolf says it. As in, basically, all of a sudden, basically, his senses, Belle's senses activated, and he catches a frozen arrow before he even gets to Sarah's face, which shocked her. As, they basically see Belle's, hands a little bit frozen, and he goes, what? Who did... And then he just sees, these white hair and blue creatures, but he was like, wait, 20 ears? Are those elves? Ice. Snow. And then basically, Egris says, those are ice elves. How are we here? My former king already dealt with them. And then basically Belle crushes the ice arrow. He was like, doesn't matter. I'll take care of them. as the one like ISO basically, does exactly the same thing over his neck. Making a motion that he's gonna try to take Belle's head, and then basically they disappear. As he goes, taunting me, huh? That ain't gonna happen. Well, that ain't gonna work out the way you want it, pal. So after that, Sarah's like, "What? What is this place?" And even Lily and Wellfire asking this question, he goes like, "First off, here." As Belle starts to basically taking out the coats, and they're like, "Huh?" He goes, "Just put these on, okay?" Which they do. Well, had to take off his actual sword, and then basically put the jacket on, put it over. He's like, Lily's jacket was actually her size. She was like, "How?" He's like, I don't know. Just put it on." So yeah, she basically takes off her bag, put it on, and such, and put the bag back on. She was like, "Wow, it's so warm." And obviously Sarah gets her own jacket. And he goes, "First off, let's get out of here, out of the open. How about that direction?" Which, well, they all nod. So when they go in basically in the direction that basically they're going into, they notice claw marks on it. He was like, "What the? This looks like a bear claw marks." He goes, "Ice bears." He was like, "Wait, what? If they are here then." As in all of a sudden, they see a big, giant, black and blue ice bear in front of them. But I gotta put another log in the fire, so give me a minute. As Bell sees it, he was like, "Wait, is this?" As then Egress comes out, he goes, "My lord, this is Tank, one of the soldiers that you have gotten." In which everyone's freaking out besides Lily, as he goes, which Bell just walks over, he was like, "You're a Tank." As, he then says, "One of my soldiers that I need to try to get." Which it, basically Tank nods. And he basically, when Bell looks in the back, he sees about 20, so maybe even I think there were about 50 soldiers. If we're talking 50, knights, not 50 knights, 20 knights, 4 mages, and then Egress. So 25. I'm gonna say, yeah, there was 25 bears, and then plus Tank. So 25 plus 7. 25. 26 plus 7. There's about 30. Bell will have basically, if I give him, Tank, about 32. No, 32. 33 shadow soldiers, in which he is getting 33. Because honestly, I realized I need to give him, the shadow soldiers. Because it's the dude really needs, help. He really needs an army. So anyways, as then he asks Egress, can you talk to him? Which Egress says, "I've been with him for so long, I learned how to speak bear." Which he was like, "Cool." So basically he asks, well, Tang, he was like, "Why are you here?" As then Tang, starts to make, noises. As then Egress says, "He is here because of Sun Jin Woo told him to come here." Or as he said, Master Sun Jin Woo told him to come here because of he sensed the red gate. He goes, "It's a red dungeon actually." Which then Tang basically, makes it bear noise. As in Igor says, "Red dungeon?" Because basically this red gate is like the red dungeon, and it's basically an area where it's 10 times tougher for me basically. And then basically, and basically what Tank just says is, "Oh, okay." So basically Bella just says, "Are you going to stay with me then?" In which he nods. And he goes, so you and your friends here are going to be by my side. He goes, which he just nods again. He was like, thank you. It's good to know that. Anyways, all of you come back to my shadow. Including you, Icarus. And then he nods. So basically, they all go into his shadow. And then he looks back as Lily goes like, so that was the bit of the army. He's like, not even close, Lily. But just one part of it. Anyways, come on, let's try and make some shelter before we go out hunting for, well, more monsters to fight, which they nod. So they basically are setting up camp. And, well, here's what happens. Wolf goes like, okay, what were those? Which, Sarah is asking that too. And he goes, allow me to explain. And so Bell explains what power he has and why he, and everything. As then Wilco was like, so you basically were in the dungeon, climbing back out for 3 weeks because a trap of a magical circle. Basically, you fell all the way to the 100th floor, and a guy named Sun Jin Woo gave you this power. He was like, yep. He goes, why not someone stronger? And he was like, I asked exactly the same question. As then Sarah says, what was his answer? He goes, because I reminded of him. He was weak, like me. But he became strong because of the system. And he then said he didn't want no one, strong because they'll let it go to their head on how strong they'll be getting then. And plus, it'll be bad for someone that's already stronger than everyone else, because they won't forget on how or where they were. So, I guess it's just lucky for me. And besides, anyone who walked over that spot, the magical circle would never activated it only when someone's worthy enough for his power. So, yeah. And besides, it's basically then, well, technically, Sarah only knows about the daggers, and she's been meaning to ask though about the whole new look. He was like, oh yeah, you and Ryu never knew. Yeah, my look is because of this. As then he pulls out the scabbard blade. Yeah, he puts out the scabbard blade. Well, sword, katana, long katana. And she goes, huh? He was like, that's a good story too. So he explains about it too, and then she was like, oh, okay. He was like, yeah, why? Are you kind of, weirded out by this? She goes, no. It's good. You look good. And, thank you. And she's just thinking, so, this is how he's getting stronger. It's okay. I like it. And at least someone believes in him. And then basically, though, Wealth goes like, so, what do you want to use your strength for? He goes, to catch up to somebody. And to protect my friends and family. People I love, care about. I don't want to let anyone else die. That's for sure. I already have someone die because of me and not again. Never again. In which everyone just looks at him, kind of worried. But anyways, though, he was like, well, we made a camp, so hold up. It's basically Bell has some ice bears come out, and he goes like, patrol the area, make sure no one comes around. I don't know if you guys are basically at level 1 or not, but please, be careful. As they all nod and start spreading out and survey the area, he goes, tank. His then tank comes out and he goes like, if you know this area is exactly the same way as when you lived here before, then can you guide us to the nearest monsters that are strong? Strong enough for me to take on if they have a leader, like, you, because you're a leader of and your own bears, but also strong enough for Lily and Love to get in strength too. As basically, well, Tank looks at everyone and then he looks back at Belle and he nods. So he basically gets down as Belle climbs up and then he tells everyone to get up as they all do. And so Tank starts running. He starts running into the distance. And about an hour of running later, he basically finds monkeys. Ice monkeys. Basically at the white fur and stuff. And, well, they basically even had, like, ice swords. And he was like, well then, these guys seem pretty strong. I was actually at the top of in the area of the mountain, he sees in the big bad boss, basically the leader, and then he has armor and a staff as he's looking down, and he basically then, like, starts screeching as Belle's like, well, we got company. Well, Lily, be ready. And, basically they nod. So basically they all get off. And then he basically has Egris come out. And he goes, Egris, protect Syra. He goes, Syra. And then he has his 5 silver frame wolves come out. And basically, if you guys are wondering, he basically only had like about 10 of the bears come out. So basically, he basically calls in the other bears, and then they all come out, and he was like, "Okay, you 5, stay with Egris, Tank. How about Lily? Wait, and you guys, how about Lily and Wealth?" As a nod, and he looks up and goes, "And I'll take care of the big guy." So I'm kind of gonna rush this a little bit because of I want technically the main scene to happen. So basically, let's just say the fight took about 30 minutes. Really. The bears help take care of the ice monkeys, the minions basically. There are about like 20, not 20, there were about like 10 of them. And then there was then the big bad one. As basically Belle just took out the sword and he was like, alright then, let's see how much power the sword really has. And so, staff versus sword. He basically, blocking it with the sword, and then basically able to run at it, like, faster than normal. He was like, what the? Since I became level 2, did I get faster? I noticed that with Lich, but this is incredible, though. So, and basically, he starts, making slashes in the, at the big giant monkey boss, the leader basically, as it's basically able to dodge and maneuver with the staff, block attacks, dodge and parry while Belle's like keeping up, which he's basically pushing back in the corner, and basically this fight only lasts 30 minutes. He basically does then parry one attack and then immediately slashes, killing the monkey boss, and then it falls to the ground. And he does get a good couple of levels, 6, but he doesn't notice then in his stats. He basically got, he basically got 3 in each stat, plus then more points. Okay, I think I did get rid of the 44 points. I believe I got rid of the 44 points and I just did not erase it. So, give me a minute. Basically, he's 48. His HP is 310. His mana or magic is 336. Strength 81. Agility 81. Sense 80. And basically 79 vitality, intelligence 61. So if you guys are thinking sure to get some points into the gods one, I'm yes. And I think he should at least get 6 points, because that's how many points it went in. So Six. But technically, at the end of this dungeon, we are telling you Bell get his stats, and we're gonna see where he is. So, yeah. So basically, after that, he basically looks at all of the basically the monkeys that have fallen, and well, he basically says, "Arise." So 20 monkeys plus the leader one, so that's 21. So 21 plus. Okay, so. Okay, more math. 21 plus 33. 3, 4. 5, 4, 5. He has 54 shadows now. So technically a small army. And he was like, huh, alright. Since technically you're the main leader, I think I'll call you Monkey King. Reasons why. Because I technically made him look like the Monkey King. So yeah. Anyways. It's basically, it nods and and then basically says, his name has changed into Monkey King. And so he's like, alright guys, is anyone hurt? Which, Sarah, Wealth, and Lola say, no, that was really amazing. Wealth was like, yeah, I feel like I'm a lot stronger from fighting them. He's like, right then, we're gonna, search for more monsters and fight. And that's what they do. The thing is, Bell only gets into fights if needed. He lets technically his actual soldiers help out Lily and basically Wealth just to take care of them so they can get weakened, so they can get the final hits. Especially for Wealth, since he wants to get stronger so he can help improve his blacksmithing skills, or his smithing skills basically, to improve on them. Because that's how I basically heard in the anime, basically, is a help with his smithing. So basically, it's a win-win for him. So he basically gets the most. He hasn't took anyone out after the Monkey King and his men. So we're telling the Monkey King. So basically, after that, they do technically then go back to the base, and well, nothing has happened then. So he calls back the bears, and so I was like, man, that was easy thanks to you, Bell. Your soldiers are amazing. He was like, yeah, I told him not to kill any one of the monsters and just have them help you. It was easy for them to disarm them or get rid of some of their limbs so you guys can get the final kills. This should probably help you increase on your smithing skills, basically. Well, he was like, yeah, thanks again. Really, I appreciate you wanted to take me here. He was like, yeah, and I got some pretty good XP from this. Hold on, guys. Okay, so as I was saying, as Velk was like, right. He goes, besides, it's a win-win for me. And which Velk was like, but seriously, man, that blade of yours is wicked crazy. How much power does, you can't even put out with it. He was like, oh, you mean? Strange was like, yeah. He was like, well, there's more to this blade than what I know. From what the item description said, I know there's a lot more power in it. I have to work with it, get even stronger with it. So, that way, I can bring out the full potential of this blade and its power. Which Egress does pop out and goes like, that is good, my lord. There's a lot more power than what we know. But you probably only got a small fraction of the Lich's power when we face him. He was like, yeah, I gotta look on the hero shot, on the Argonaut shot of, Firebolt. Which he does not. Egress does. Which Wolf was like, well, the owner display must have been wicked strong. He was like, he was. he really was strong. He was hard to even like keep up or even like get a hit in. I bet I did even mattered. As then, as basically he gets this. Basically, something happens. Belle just says, "You guys want to keep being stealthy, good, but at least try not to, well, have your bloodlust coming out from one of your men." In which, well, the actual like everything starts to, they all start to basically come out, basically out of hiding themselves. As in one that says, "Well, well, well." Looks we were found out by just a mere human. Trash. Which, well, not surprising since you're more than trash. Which Bell just gets up from what he was sitting. He was like, and you're nothing more than, well, I don't know, ignorant? That doesn't really matter. He was cocky, he was like, so why are you here? He was like, oh, one of my men found a non-trash person and wants to fight. As basically the one steps up and it's grinning. He was like, so you both will have a. As basically Bell took care of him right away, and he goes, he has to do better than that. As he goes, oh, you are interesting indeed. As Welf and Lily and Sarah are all in shock. As in, well, he basically goes, I can clearly tell you're not willing to listen. You want to fight. So, how about this? My men and I will fight, and if you win, if you can kill us, that is, you will be able to take whatever you want off of us. Is that alright? He goes, yeah, and what happens if you win? He goes, oh, we just take them away with us, and do whatever we want with them. As he goes, it's a good thing you ain't gonna win. He goes like, how? All of us versus only you? He was like, not just me. As then all of a sudden, all his shadows, all 54 shadows come out. As he was like, mere politics are not gonna work on us. As basically Bell has, he had the Hestia dagger out. As then basically puts it in his mouth for a bit and takes out, Scabbard. And, he basically then grabs the dagger in his hand. He was like, well then, bring it on. And so, you guys are thinking, isn't this going to be a little bit wrong? Because of the sword and daggers, like, kind of. I mean, just imagine it as a short sword. It's kind of like dual wielding two katanas, but one of them shorter than the other, sort of thing. So yeah, as they say, he says, everyone attack! As all of his shadows starts attacking. But, he basically has some of the shadows basically stay back with everyone else to protect them. As, well, yeah, it's basically some of Tank's men are staying back while the rest are fighting. So, yeah. Basically, yeah, some of them are getting taken out pretty easily. The monkeys are basically maneuvering too fast for them, the ice elves, to hit. Basically, then the tanks, but then basically the ice bears come in and help along with the wolves. Egress is helping out, taking out most of them along with Tank and the Monkey King. Which, well, when basically the Monkey King and his men along with Tank and his men and the wolves, even Egress killing them, they're just stacking up levels like quick, like real quick. Even like Bell seeing this, as he basically gets more than points. And so he basically is realizing this on how fast they were being taken out. Well, the elves, man. He was like, well, that's kind of sad. Seems like the ice monkeys were way too much, more of a distraction. They let their guards down because they were cocky. As basically the ice elf leader says, "Why you stinking human?" As he basically tries to use his dagger, his Bell just blocks it with a sword, and then he basically kicks the guy, which somehow in some way sends a little shockwave. He's like, "What?" Which sends him and Bell flying a little bit. Bell caught himself more, while the ice elf took a little while and then catches himself. Now, Bell was thinking, what was that? Yes. Okay, if you guys didn't realize, he basically looks like Lich because of electricity that came from the blade to make him be able to handle the power. What does that intake? I just want you guys to realize, does this mean he has technically the skills of, a Lich of sword techniques on a few of them, but most of the abilities are just a part of his body now? Yes. So basically that little shockwave, what we see in the first episode of Plunder, where every step he took, made little shockwaves. Yeah, that is basically sort of the thing. But anyways, does he get superhuman reflexes, strength, and speed, and endurance, and all that? Yes. But that's neither here nor there. It's not really skills or stuff, so it's just automatically to him, which is kind of a big boost if you really think about it. But anyways, as the ice, I was like, "What? How did you?" He was like, "I don't know, but." As basically he basically has the dagger put away real quick. As he puts out his hand with the sword, he was like, "Firebolt!" Basically says that as fire comes out of his hand, shot out as the ice elf does dodge. He was like, "What? He can use magic!" As basically then Bell takes out the Kazaka. Ah, my god. My freaking brain cannot say my mouth cannot say the name right. Kazaka's blade. And then, starts moving in with sprint. As, well, he basically has then the sword in his mouth, then takes out both of the daggers, and he just starts wailing on the guy, moving faster than what he can see, and basically, he does, hits the elf on the side of his leg, nearly cutting it off. He's like, "How? How is this possible?" So basically, the ice elf does grab Bell by the head and smacks him into the ground at least 4 times and froze him. And then he hits a tree. He gets back up. As some of the soldiers are about to attack the ice elf, he was like, "No, he's mine." As they stop, and he was like, "Well, nice going. I didn't expect that to ever happen." He goes, "You're human. Of course you wouldn't. But you have impressive you can use magic." So Bell gets up. Sword gets put back in his mouth. He goes, "Alright. Let's see what happens if I do this." As he goes back in the sprint and, activation, and then basically all of a sudden he basically is moving a little bit faster now, because he then combines with sprint with flash strike. Let me just double check that skill. No, it's flashing strike, which then basically goes into a reddish, aura goes around him, as he's like, "What?" As he basically hits him with the Kazaka's blade, which then activates paralyze and bleed out, which then Bell puts it back into the, actually he would just put it in the holster, and then basically in the Hestia blade in the sheath, and then he basically holding on to the scabbard blade, and he goes, "Now you're done!" As then all of a sudden he basically goes at him and just slices his head off, basically, as he gets sent flying off his head and lands right where basically the body will fall. He goes, whew. As all of a sudden he starts ranking up points. Like, he ranked up points of 10 from all the ice elves. With this, though, with the leader, oh my god. He's basically ranked up 20. So altogether, he has 30 points he is ranked up. And I'm gonna, do the math real quick. So, give me a minute, guys. Okay, so basically, he's level 78, 360 health, 400 MP, strength, well, hold on. Okay, so 121 in strength, agility 121, sense 119. No, it would have been 120. Sorry. I just realized I was trying to figure out. Wait, this is like one under, so it's always been one under, so yeah. Okay, so then sense 119, vitality 104, and intelligence 146. Basically, then for the god system, strength 36, endurance 36, dexterity 36, agility 36, and magic 36. Okay? Okay. So, as Bill then is looking around, he goes, I wonder, am I strong enough for these guys? So he goes over to the elf boss. He goes, arise. As nothing, it did not work the first time. He goes, maybe he's just like Icarus. He goes, so, I may be, a human, but I defeated you. Does that make you angry? It should. Because I took your life away. That means you cannot live. And you cannot go on any adventures with your people. You cannot explore the forest. But what if I could take you somewhere even greater than the forest? Even greater than your homeland. I can show you an area where the sun shines with no snow. Facing new creatures that you would never imagine. And you'll get stronger than what you are now. So, I ask you again, arise. As in the ice elf leader, does arise. And Belle will just say, ice, snow, elf. Jack Frost? No, he's thinking that in his head. He just says, simple, Frost. So basically, Frost is, named. And then he gets the. Alright, guys, I'm in my room. So basically, if you guys don't notice, I am not given the, extra stats because of the weapons to the, to basically Bell. Because honestly, from the stuff he has, in the anime, I'm gonna stay with that. It's just, they're there, but he's basically gonna be using any dagger he can. Mostly the Hestia dagger and the Kazaka's dagger. Kazaka Venom Fang dagger mostly. Because it, paralyzes and bleeds out the enemy. So, anyways. I'm in my room right now. But, let's continue. So then he looks at the item, that he just got. He goes, Baraka's dagger? And he looks at Frost. He was like, I am so sorry. I did not know you had a name. You never even said it. You probably did not even pay attention. I am so sorry. As then Frost just shrugs. And oh yeah, I forgot to add them. Telly had overwhelming odds with him. So let's just say he had about 30 soldiers plus. I mean, he had 30. It was 30 people altogether. So that's 30. You know, that's 30. I mean, that's 29 plus himself. Yeah. But now he has 84 shadow soldiers. So, by the way, the points he has is 216. I'm not gonna put them in right now. Probably next part. But anyways, so as Bell walks over to everyone, as all his shadows, go back in besides Egress, as he goes, "You are doing well, my lord. It seems like that sword is, well, quite handy with you." He's like, "Yeah, it's just, well, my body looks like Lich when he was 14. It feels natural though. It's like second nature to use the sword, and I think because of I look like him, and because the sword changed me to look like him, I got more than just some new attacks, and like skills and abilities, and the title Plunderer." He goes, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, it feels like there's more to the title Plunderer than I thought." So basically, Igor says, "We'll figure that out later. Now though, the dungeon should be closing because we defeated the boss." He was right. Let's just hope we get back in time. As then the actual, dungeon is starting to close off. And so they're right back outside. By the way, if you guys are wondering how many hours did it take, it basically took a couple of days, actually. So, yeah. But anyway, so after that, he basically, tells Siru, don't, tell no one. But she does nod. And he even says, "Wolf, not Wolf, Welf, I'm sorry for not telling you this sooner." He's like, "No, no, 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 I didn't tell you about me. So it's okay." It's kind of, he goes, "Yeah, but seriously, don't tell no one." He was like, "I won't. No one will believe me anyways." He was, "Yeah." So after that, they all go their separate ways, and the next day, Lily's taking a break. She's tired, and, she kind of got sick, though, from the cold and such, even though they were, doing what they did, camping near a fire and such. So, yeah. Welf and Belle were okay, so basically, they do exactly the same thing and happen. So basically, he makes the Ishuakamara Kamaru, dagger. And he goes, "Let me see." So he looks and he was like, "Yeah, this is really good. I like it. Thank you, Elf." He was like, "No problem. Seriously, again, thank you for, bringing me with you." He goes, "No, it's nothing. It's really nothing. You promised me something, and I can't wait to see what you build next, or make for me next." He's like, "Alright." So, after that, he does go back to, Hestia, as in she, basically goes like, "Hey, Val, we never checked your stats yesterday after you got back. You really were tired." It's like, "Yeah. So, wanna, see what my stats are?" She goes, "Uh-huh." So, basically, I'm gonna write down the stats, and I'm thinking because of what he was doing, he really is gonna have higher magic than anything else. So, this is gonna be like an harder area, so this will give him 2 times everything right now. Instead of just like 100. Basically, he was motivated. Here was his motivation to get stronger right there, to protect his friends, and to help, basically defeat this boss, so that way he won't, they won't have to deal with it. And also, still, eyes is on his mind. So yeah, give me a minute. Okay, so basically, he has 221 in strength, so G, and 301 in endurance, so F. G, 203 in dexterity, agility 299, a G, and magic 450, so an E. And when Hestia tells him, she was like, "Wow, you're growing pretty fast." He was like, "Yeah, that dungeon though was pretty simple sort of. Helpful. If I basically increased this much, hopefully Lillian, well, Wealth did too. Which Hestia goes like, believe me, I think they did. As then all of a sudden, well, Hephaestus comes in, and she goes, Hestia! You know, like she's coming down the stairs. She goes like, "Why is what, who is he?" And she goes, "Oh, this is Belle." He goes, "I," and she goes, uh, but can you put on a shirt, please?" And he's like, "Oh, sorry." As you know, he's just putting on, his shirt. As Hestia was thinking, how could Wolf go be with him? And basically, she was like, "Are you sure you're Belle? I heard you were different." He was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, don't worry about it very much. Goddess Hestia. I'm not, yeah, Hephaestus. I meant to say, guys." She was, huh? Sorry. What was that? He was like, "Don't worry about it, Goddess Hephaestus." He was like, "Oh, okay." As then all of a sudden she gets this weird evil feeling, and then she looks over and she sees the scabbard. She goes, "Why is that blade so?" He goes, "Have evil aura on it." And basically he goes over and grabs, and he goes like, "This blade has a lot of death on it, I was told." And it says a hero to protect his friends went into a war. The person who gave me this told me a little bit of the story. He killed so many people just to save his friends, keep them safe, out of danger. He took it all upon himself. In the process, he became a monster, he said. But this blade is, well, it took many lives, but I'm gonna try to conquer this, whatever, as you say, evil it has, and use it to my advantage. I won't let it corrupt me. Not one bit. As then, all of a sudden, when he was gripping the blade, that feeling she had of evil is like slowly gone, and it's like calm in his hand. She's kind of shocked by this, and she goes, "Okay." So Hestia goes like, "Why are you here, Hephaestus?" He goes, "Well, I just checked Wolf's stats. How is he so high?" He goes, "Oh, that's my fault." She goes, "Huh?" He goes, "Allow me to explain." So he technically explains about the whole entire, situation that they were in. And she goes, "Okay, thank you." And that explains everything. She just leaves. When she's leaving, she goes, "Oh my god, how is he 14?" And basically with Freya, she, like, all the time she was watching Belle, doing his thing, she was amazed, shocked, and she goes, I don't want I don't want to take him away from, well, Hestia. She really needs this, but I want to be with him. Maybe I could just talk to him and get to know him. Like he said, he doesn't know I's, the Sword Princess, and I don't know him besides what he could do and his potential. And I kind of got interested in him now. So, how about I get to know him as Freya for a while? I really do hope Hestia doesn't mind. I'm not going to take him away from her. She's a good friend. As well, we go back to Belle and Hestia. And he goes, "Anyways, goddess, I got a new blade from Wolf. And then he shows the, Ishiwa Kamaru. So the Ishiwa Kamaru. And she goes, "Wow." He was like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna, have this in my, basically on my side of where my armor is and keep the the venom thing in my inventory for a while. She was like, "Alright, you should really get some rest though." He goes, "Yeah, we're gonna go into the dungeon tomorrow. And we're gonna try to go to the, well, I'm going to floor 15. Try to get to floor 18 if possible. I want to see how well I can go against the boss." And she goes, "Right. Don't tell, Edna that." He was like, "I won't. And besides, I got about 84 shadow shoulders now, so yeah." And basically, the lower guys can, start getting stronger by going after the higher floor enemies. She's right. Anyways, night, Belle. Just night. So, and then this is where I will end it off because Belle's sleeping. So, yeah. Anyways, you guys have a nice day, night, wherever you want. Bye. Hope you guys enjoy this what if. I'll make part 5 later in the day, and then I'll try uploading it. Because I want to get at least this part, and then I'll basically go back into Ruby before I go into Season 2. So, yeah. Also, I heard there's a Season 4 coming out of Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? So, Season 4 content. Then, when that comes out, I'll make, Season 4. So, yeah. Anyways, bye.